we will take it. Any burning questions? Mercedes, thank you so much for helping us open this up. It really gives us that bigger perspective. And, you know, we're Washington, so we can't help but not be international. So thank you so much for helping us start this morning. I'd like to bring up Ellen McCarthy and Stephen Davies to move forward in setting the table for today. Yeah, come on up. Yeah.
Thank you.
It feels like we're, you know, where's the envelope so that we can, and the winner is.
And the winner is. Yes, thank you, Mercedes, for that very inspiring address. I am just back from Pontevedra, Spain, where I attended and spoke at the European Placemaking Network Conference with over 400 people. And it really was an astounding conference. And there was so much innovation going on. I think we should create an exchange between Placemaking Europe and the Place Leader Group here. I think there's a lot that can be learned from both sides of the Atlantic. Anyway, I'm here representing the Social Life Project today. We're thrilled to be partnering with all you in Georgetown. There's so much work, great work going on at the local level. But as Mercedes was saying, really, this is what you do at the local level is scalable. It's scalable to the regional level as you're doing, it's scalable to the national level. You have both national organizations and access to federal agencies in Washington. And of course, this is a global issue. So this is really why we partnered with Georgetown, because you check off so many boxes. And we do believe that these local networks, the placemaking campaigns and catalytic projects that you're engaged with are really forces for community change.
You want to see the screen that's over there too.
Oh, okay, thank you. So you'll be happy to know you're not alone. This map shows where there have been placemaking conferences and convenings over the last 10 years. There are now well over 20 regional placemaking networks. These include Placemaking Latino America, Placemaking India, Placemaking Europe. Really every continent except Antarctica has a placemaking network. And you know what's remarkable, and when I was in Europe sitting at this conference, I was one of the co-founders of Project Public Spaces, and we were like preaching to the world about the value of public spaces. And now, you know, we're in these audience hearing from all of you about all of these things that you're doing. And so it's so rewarding and really shows that we're at a kind of pivotal moment. So I'm here today. I am president of the Placemaking Fund, and we have two programs. The first program is called Placemaking X. The second one is Social Life Project. I encourage you to sign up for our newsletters and be on the list for both of them if you haven't already. The Placemaking X is a global networking organization. We work with these emerging global networks around the world to sort of cross-fertilize these ideas. Ethan Kent, who's the executive director of Placemaking X, is in Valencia, Spain this week, where there's a conference on health innovations and the role of place and how do we transfer knowledge back from Europe to the United States on that important issue. The Social Life Project is a communication venue that we try to communicate the success stories from around the globe through scores of photo essays and articles, which I hope you take a look at. And we frame our work around these 11 transformative agendas. And these agendas are really a way for you to think about your work at the local level in a broader context. So And they can also be a roadmap for communities to launch placemaking campaigns. So when we had our meeting in May, which some of you probably attended, we talked a lot, for example, about the role of public square in Washington, D.C. and the issues of, working with the National Park Service, when we really want to activate and create these strong centers of squares. And, another very powerful agenda is start with the sidewalks. When you start with sidewalks as social spaces and economic engines rather than as transportation corridors, you can really develop much stronger elements that we hope, through this efforts to kind of tap into all the infrastructure monies that is being invested by the federal government in the next decade or so. So I won't go, and much because Mercedes really talked about this, but really we do just reiterate that local innovation, if aggregated and work collectively, is a way to address at least climate change, as well as other critical issues, health, equity, inclusion. And so we really think that if you aggregate small scale change, you can create big policy change. And that's really, the intent of our partnership with Georgetown and, the modus operandus of the placemaking fund. So if Fred was here today, he would sort of say, we have to turn everything upside down to get from inadequate to an extraordinary. So we, challenge you to take all the great innovations, which Ellen's going to talk about now, to the kind of next level. And we know you're really up for this challenge. And if anybody can solve these issues, you can. So Ellen, why don't you take it from here?
Thank you, Stephen. Show me what's the magic button.
That one.
So, good morning. It's been an exciting partnership for the Place Leadership Project to get together with the Social Life Project and the Placemaking Fund. We've been very grateful for their support, which has helped finance Savannah, without whom we would not be here today for sure. Some of you were at a small meeting we had in the spring to sort of revamp and get going again after COVID social isolation. And at that meeting, what we discovered was that there were tremendous new innovations and approaches that were being developed by the smaller group of placemaking organizations. So we thought, based on what we heard there, we ought to do a survey and get a better idea of the larger sphere and what was going on, what had been the impact of the pandemic on placemaking organizations. So we did the survey. Not all of you filled it out. It would have been nice to have a few more, but based on what we knew from the past work that Kevin O'Halloran had done with us in the early stages of the placemaking network, we were fairly certain that what we were getting was representative of the larger groups. Over half the organizations, as you can see, were either business improvement districts or Main Street organizations, but there were other types as well. And they manage a variety of public spaces, particularly streets and sidewalks, parks, and public plazas. There were some very profound comments from those who responded about how COVID highlighted the importance of public space. And I won't read them for you because you can read them faster than I can say them. But I think it's safe to say that the pandemic definitely highlighted for all of us the importance of public space and how to manage it as well as possible, and what it means to our communities to have vibrant public spaces. Not too surprisingly, when we asked whether the impacts had been positive or negative, PMOs found that it had both positive and negative impacts. A lot of the positive ones you no doubt have experienced, those of you who were from PMOs, this building the sense of trust and the sense of community and the role that the PMO was able to play in fostering that. And on the negative side, the well-documented problems that if people are self-isolating, there's not a lot of public to have life in public spaces in. And now our chore is trying to figure out how to activate that again so we can deal with the vacancies in the retail storefronts and the difficulties in getting people to be back out in the public and enjoying being together in public spaces. In terms of the specific kinds of innovations, you can see here the changes that occurred, but that our survey respondents saw. Obviously, more changes in terms of outdoor dining and in market operations, but lots of different kinds, new kinds of outdoor programming, a lot more understanding of the importance of sidewalks and public parks and others, and also highlighting the interaction between vehicles and mobility and public space, and how to keep mobility operating, but in a way that still allows us higher and better uses for public space than simply single occupant automobiles driving on it. As you can see, also the PMOs indicated that in terms of their needs, the biggest needs have been skipped a slide. The importance of the new, more examples of the new approaches that have been adopted by several PMOs, most of which have been planned to continue, and you'll hear a lot more about that later on today. That's why I just wanted to go through the survey relatively quickly. It's on our website and you can see it in more detail there, but I definitely want to leave time for the discussions and for people sharing, because when we asked what people need to sustain their innovations, the key needs are all around being able to network and share information, both about what's going on in the region and what's going on nationally. And that's a role that we at the Placemaking Network definitely hope to continue to fill and to expand our role based on input from place management organizations about the best way to accomplish that. So we really would appreciate hearing that from you today and hearing how the Placemaking Network can better serve the placemaking organizations in the region. So looking to the future, what we've learned is the PMOs in the region have shown considerable creativity in dealing with the pandemic, and there seems to be an important role that the Place Leadership Network could provide for their PMOs in order for them to learn from each other and national programs to continue to innovate and to take advantage of this unique moment. And now we get to hear what's contributing to this unique moment from our next set of speakers. So thank you.